world issues matter to us. We would like the G7 leaders to know what we, the future adults, think is important.
Nous sommes les élèves de 6e année en Perth, Ontario, Canada. Et voici le grand problème selon nous.
We are going to tell you why gender equality is important.
On veut parler d'importance des qualités des femmes et des hommes.
I think girls going to school is important because girls need just as much an education as boys do.
Je pense que les filles peuvent aller à l'école parce que les filles sont très intelligentes aussi.
Hey G7! We're here to talk to you about plastic, a deadly substance that kills thousands of sea animals every year.
Last year, a study estimated that over 8 million metric tons of our plastic waste ends up in our oceans every year.
That's about 24 metric tons by 2020.
Toxic fumes made by burning plastic not only pollutes our air, but also weakens human lungs.
Not to mention, plastic over time breaks down into smaller plastic bits, which can be swallowed by sea animals.
It's hard to imagine a world without plastic.
But with your help, it may just be possible.
Okay.
Hi, members of the G7. I'd like to take a minute to discuss one of the biggest problems in the world today. The problem is plastic. Plastic is cheap, effective, and durable, so companies produce tons and tons of it. Not to mention, it's not biodegradable, so it stays in our environment for hundreds and hundreds of years. And when it starts to decompose, it breaks up into small pieces of plastic called microplastics. When we all work together, we can defeat the plastic problem. Thank you.
We need to stop polluting. Earth is the only home we have and we are killing it. Companies need to stop producing plastic straws and six-pack rings. Countless animals have died, and for what? The pleasure of the human race.
Plastic is everywhere and we need to fix it. It's in our oceans and on our land. We need the G7 to help clean up our Earth and make it a better place to live. Our animals are dying and people are burning plastic and it's toxic. Please stop mass plastic production, G7.
Hey G7, I just want to have a quick chat with you. One of the biggest problems in this world right now is plastics. So many plastics are being manufactured and it needs to be stopped, and we have the power. So much plastic ends up in the ocean and then the fish eat it. Then we catch the fish, eat them, and then the plastic ends up in our bodies. So the cycle of life is just being ruined by us. Not to mention it takes thousands of years to decompose. So let's stop this, G7, and help make the world a better place, one step at a time.
We think that plastic is horrible for our environment. Our planet does not need any more plastic on the grounds or in the waters. On the ground, people leave plastic everywhere and it isn't biodegradable. So eventually it ends up in our oceans or killing our environment.
In the water, millions of sea creatures are dying from eating our plastic waste.
We think that if we all work together, we can solve this major problem.
We think that treating people unfairly because of their religion, race, or gender is wrong.
Everyone deserves to not feel afraid of the world around them when they're being themselves.
That's why we think G7 should talk more about equality.
Everyone needs to feel safe, loved, and free.
Our world is in danger because of plastic pollution. We need to stop using and disposing of plastic waste. We produce almost 300 million tons of plastic each year and it needs to stop.
On doit faire quelque chose maintenant avec l'environnement. On lance les déchets sans arrêter, pollue notre air, coupe les forêts et lance les plastiques dans l'océan. Les animaux comme les oiseaux, les poissons et autres animaux marins mangent les plastiques et meurent. On doit faire quelque chose maintenant. Quand on coupe un arbre, on peut planter un autre. Quand on peut avoir les personnes qui ramassent les déchets et diminuent la quantité de déchets dans l'environnement. Les unis devraient prédire les émissions de pollution dans l'environnement. Ensemble, nous pourrons le faire.
We think that the most important thing for the G7 to discuss is food security. You may ask what this is exactly. It's having access to food for an active, healthy life. People who are food secure do not have to live in fear of hunger or starvation. We think that this is very important because it can help people that cannot afford food for themselves. Thank you.
Hello, G7. I think that you should look at racism, terrorism, and human rights for everyone, because I think that everyone deserves a safe place to live. And every day in the news you hear something about this.
Je
Je pense que le G7 doit parler du plastique. Le plastique est un problème sérieux qui affecte tout le monde. Comme des humains, la Terre a une limite. Nous devons faire certain que notre planète n'atteint pas cette limite. Le problème du plastique existe depuis longtemps.
Hi G7. I would like to raise awareness about plastic. Plastic is a very big problem in our world and is everywhere. In 2060, the whole entire ocean is going to be plastic. And that's not very good. It's also not very good for us. For example, one fish eats a tiny bit of plastic, and then another fish comes along and eats that fish, and then we eat the fish that ate that fish, and then the plastic ends up in our stomach, and that's not very good. So together, let's stop littering.
Hello, G7. The world issue that matters to me the most is world hunger. 11% of people don't have access to food. That may not seem like a lot, but that's 815 million people. And a child dies every 10 seconds from hunger, and 1 billion people suffer from hunger.
Je pense que les océans pleins de plastique est un des plus importants problèmes au monde. Les pays dans le G7 laissent tomber le plastique aux océans et fait mal aux animaux marins. Fait les océans bleus encore et arrête la production de plastique.
Jump,